My name's Aela Callan. I am 29 years old. I'm a freelance correspondent in Thailand, based in Bangkok. I came here because I could see Bangkok was a good place for journalists to be based, especially if they were going to be freelance. It's sort of a hub for Asia, if you like. You can fairly easily jump on a plane and access anywhere else in the region pretty quickly. Also at the time I had been working for Al Jazeera English in Hong Kong, and they had a need for somebody in Bangkok, and so that was the reason I came here. I've been here for about just over 12 months now, and owing to the fact that Thailand has been in the news so very much over the last 12 months, the workflow has been really steady. My main two clients are Al Jazeera English and Channel 7 Australia, and pretty much they keep me busy most of the time, although occasionally I do pieces for other networks as well, especially when a big story is breaking like the red shirts. I've managed to be able to be on other channels as well.
So are you doing this all by yourself? I mean, doing all the recording, all the production, all the editing as well as submitting all the stories?
No, I'm not a video journalist. I'm a correspondent producer. So basically I research the stories myself, and then I employ a fixer and a cameraman editor to come along with me and basically shoot the story, and then I package it up and sell it as a complete cut story. Most of the time my commissions are driven by ideas I have that I pitch, but also I accept commissions based on what a newsroom wants. So they might ring up and say this is happening, or there's a breaking news event on that day, and then I basically roll with the punches, as it were, as you do with breaking news, and file what I can when I can, to deliver a product that shows my clients what's going on in any part of the world at any given time.
Okay. Can we roll it back a bit, and perhaps you can explain to us how you became a journalist and then how you became a freelance journalist?
Well, I was a journalist for 10 years before I went freelance. 5 years of that was in radio and 5 years of that was in television, both in Australia. I decided to go out on my own because I wanted to do the kind of stories that made a difference. To me, in Australia, news became very parochial, became a very cyclical thing. I knew I could do it. I didn't know if I could do it on my own or not, and many people at the time said to me, it will be really tough. It is really tough, but it's also immensely rewarding when you know by the end of it that you can land in any country pretty much and function as a journalist. You become very streetwise very quickly, and also just learn how to use the resources that are around you to help you with a story, and also to keep you going on the road. You need networks of people. It's something that you really can't do on your own. So building those networks is a lot of what I do, certainly because I'm in television, and you can't, the emergence of video journalists is starting to happen, but really you can't do it on your own, particularly if you don't have the language skills. So you really do need to rely on those networks that you establish, and the longer you're in a place, the more you establish those. I think because of the limited jobs that exist in the journalism field at the moment, a lot of people are choosing to strike out on their own much earlier than what I did. I think that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's never easy when you're trying to do this job on your own. It's always, of course, much easier when you have a network of a newsroom that can, support you in various ways. However, I think the emergence of video journalists in my field is a good thing for young people to learn a lot of different skills all at once. It really is throwing yourself in the deep end, but you do learn to diversify, and I think that's definitely the way the industry goes. You no longer just have one role. You are a correspondent and you're an editor, or you're a correspondent and you're a producer, or you're a producer and you're a shooter, or you're a cameraman as well as a fixer, something like that. So you really do need to think about diversifying yourself. when you're freelance, particularly because budgets are tight. People won't, throw thousands of dollars at a story, and sometimes you're doing the story on your own, funding it yourself, because you know in your heart it's a good story and that you will sell it at the end of the day. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. The further you get into it, the more you learn what each newsroom wants and what the specific needs of your clients are, and that's something that I would suggest anyone who is thinking of embarking on a freelance career does. Pick, a few specific clients that they target and tailor their needs to them, because it's no good if you're going to be pitching to a huge news network if you don't have a budget, because you really do need a budget. It's no good if you're going to be doing a 20-minute documentary and pitching it to a news channel, because quite obviously it needs to go into another slot that has more time to tell that story. So you really do have to think about what you want to do, who you want to sell to, and talk to them. Go over what their specific needs are, watch their content, listen to their content, read their content, whatever it is, the medium that you're working in. Make sure that you're looking very specifically at where their needs gap is and what you can do to add value to their newsroom.
Do you find sometimes, when you're on your own, it's and you're doing work for one organization, say Al Jazeera, a big brand like that, is it hard then to pitch stories to other organizations?
In television, certainly, because correspondents are a brand effectively. My contract with Al Jazeera prevents me from, say, selling a story to BBC or CNN. That doesn't mean as a freelancer I don't have contact with them, that I can't, help them in other ways, a producing role or perhaps a behind-the-scenes role if I'm not working for Al Jazeera, but because I have a specific contract with them, they're always my first go-to point. It can be difficult, and I know in the past when I haven't had a contract, it can be difficult to pitch to other news organisations when your face is on camera, because like I said, a correspondent is a brand, if you like, and you can't be popping up all over other different stations. They just won't do that with their direct competitors. But I wouldn't be afraid of shopping a story around if you've got a good story. It always doesn't hurt to have good contacts with all news organisations as a freelancer, because there may be other ways and other roles you can help them out with, particularly in radio as well as in print. It's quite easy to transfer your skills. So that's something, if you're in those mediums, you can do much more easily than in television. There's definitely more space for freelancers. I think more often than not, particularly big organisations are deciding that the products they can get from freelancers may be more cost effective than setting up a huge bureau, having staff, paying overtime, paying superannuation, things like that, if they exist in the country that you're working in. So definitely there is more space for freelancers. Having said that, there's also more people graduating from journalism courses who don't have jobs, and so who are, hitting out on their own and trying to be a freelancer. There's also another crowd of people that are kind of romantics, if you like, that have had some other job and, quit it to become a foreign correspondent and try out on their own, and they're trying to, fill a gap there too.